Hi guys, Rollbat1 here, along with Charmander in the background as always, coming at you with another Yu-Gi-Oh video. Now, in today's Yu-Gi-Oh video, we're going to be discussing a topic that I've kind of been thinking about recently, and I have dubbed it the name, the Time Theory. And this time theory that I have in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh is pretty much, you hit time on the round, can you win in time on the round? And what cards basically say, oh, you can win in time on the round. And today's video is basically going to be about that, discussing the time theory, talking about how do you win in time and are you able to win in time, and talking about a few cards and decks that can actually just win in time on the round because of, well, some decks take a really long time, and if you and your opponent are both playing long-winded combo decks, then you're going to want to try and win in time on the round because you don't want that draw in the tournament, do you? You don't want that 1 point, you want those 3 points. So that's what today's video is going to be. We're going to be talking about time on the round, how to win in time on the round, and pretty much cards that can just let you win if you're playing those specific decks. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this video. I hope you will really like it because honestly it's a very interesting topic to talk about. Time on the round is something that is very different and very annoying at times because if you just get burned out, you're annoyed. If you just draw, you're annoyed. But like this is going to be talking about how you can win in time in the round. So let's get into the video. Hopefully you'll enjoy. Let's begin.
It's time!
Okay guys, so for decks that can actually win in time with the time theory. Now, there are actually, funny enough, a lot of decks this format that can actually win with the time theory. Just because, well, they either have inbuilt ways to deal your opponent burn damage during turn 1, or they are just decks in general that can utilize extra deck cards that just burn your opponent regardless. And that's very funny to me, how these decks can either side extra deck cards to go ahead and burn you in time if you do hit time on the round, or in general just have inbuilt ways to deal your opponent game and just win there. So guys, we're going to be talking about these decks that are most consistent on being able to deal the burn damage on turn 1, and let's see what we've got. So the first deck that is actually able to just win in time is Prank Kids. This deck takes so long for its turns, to upwards of taking 5 to 8 minutes on its turns most of the time, because you're going to be special summoning, searching, sending, fusioning, linking, all in your turn to be able to summon multiple Prank Kids monsters, being able to burn your opponent and gain life through via Lampseas and Dropseas, the way that you can actually win in time and just end on normally a Battle Butler with a Dragon Roar sometimes, just to go ahead and have burn damage that your opponent has taken, life points that you've gained, and also just have a way to Raigeki and Harpy's Feather Dust your opponent. But that's not what we're really looking into. We're looking more into the fact that this deck takes a long ass time to be able to play its turns, and is also a deck that can just go, yeah, send Lampseas to grave and burn you for 500 points of damage for game, or send Dropseas to grave to go ahead and gain 1000 life points for game. So literally, Lampseas and Dropseas in Prank Kids is a time on the round strategy, and this deck can take turns upon turns upon turns of time that really does make sense. And if you're playing Prank Kids and your opponent is playing a combo deck as well, you're probably going to reach time of the round with this deck because, well, Lampseas and Dropseas say you're going to win there. So that's the first deck that can actually win in time very easily, with a lot of different strategies and combos that it goes through as well. But the next deck, funny enough, that can actually win in time is Phantom Knights. And you're probably thinking, how does Phantom Knights win in time? Like, that deck literally has no main deck burn and no ways to burn in the extra deck except for maybe Fortune Tune, but that doesn't work during the main phase because it has to be done during the standby phase. Well, my friend, what would I tell you if there's a very specific card that you can actually side and consistently get to in your main deck in PK? And that card is Barbar, Melabranch of the Burning Abyss. Now, Phantom Knights are a deck that are known for going into a long-winded combo that goes into normally a Future Draco, sometimes a DPE with a Scythe, and even an Appaloosa. And the fact that this deck has Barbar is very easy to win in time, because you're literally maybe a minute off the clock, you've got Barbar in your side deck, you throw it in, you go first, and you know how you get that Barbar in your graveyard consistently every game 1? 2 level 3s, go into Cherubini, send a Graph to grave, special the Barbar, and then you link the Cherubini and the Barbar into a Rusty Bard each and just win the game there. So literally, Barbar allows you to deal 300 points of damage to your opponent by sending the Cherubini and the Graph in your grave to the Banish Zone, and you just win the game there in time. So PK, another really long-winded deck, goes into a long combo and is able to win in time as well. Funny that, ain't it? So Yeah, Bar for game is another way to win. Literally, Burning Abyss players have been doing it for years and currently relevant in the format. PK players can do it as well. So yeah, PK can win in time too. The next deck that can actually win very easily in time is Sword Soul. And honestly, a lot of you people are probably saying, yeah, this deck can easily win in time. You know why? Because it has Long Yuan, a literal monster that says if it's used as synchro material, you can just go ahead and deal your opponent 1200 points of damage. So easily, turn 1, you are able to burn your opponent to death with Sword Soul, literally by just summoning Mo Yi, using Mo Yi, reveal a Sword Soul card, go ahead and special the level 8 synchro from the extra deck, search the Long Yuan, and then just go ahead and synchro it off to go ahead and make literally a level 10 synchro and burn your opponent for 1200. It's not a surprise that this card is very easily accessible and very easy to use because it says Sword Soul have a way to burn, especially seeing as they already have everything else like negate, synchro summoning, and all this other stuff. But Konami gave them a way to burn, so if you're playing Sword Soul, you can win in time as well. But the next deck, well, decks that can actually win in time are Rocket, or Dragon Link as people call it, and also Virtual World. And you're probably thinking, how do these two decks win with burn damage or gain life in time? And I'm going to tell you that very simply because they both win with exactly the same card, and that card is Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend. And you guys are probably wondering, yeah, this is a really old card. This is a cover card from one of a really old sets, and this card is actually very good and able to win in time because of its effect. And its effect is, once per turn you can destroy as many special summon effects monsters on the field as possible and inflict 500 points of damage to your opponent for each one destroyed. But how do you win turn 1 with this card? Like, my opponent doesn't have any effect monsters on the board, they haven't special summoned, but how do I do it in Virtual World and Dragon Link? Well, it's very simple. These two decks special summon more than 2 monsters. These two decks are able to special summon multiple monsters, multiple special summon monsters, and this card doesn't care if you're destroying your opponent's or your own to inflict the damage. So pretty much all you need to do is special summon this in Virtual World off an Ultimate Tzolk'in, use this effect, kill the Ultimate Tzolk'in, burn your opponent for 500 life points, or in Dragon Link, summon literally a Rocket Synchron and another monster, make this, and literally just go ahead and destroy the other Rocket monster, because guess what? That Tracer definitely destroyed a face-up card to special summon a Rocket from the deck, to go ahead and make the Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend to go ahead and burn your opponent for game. So these two decks very easily can just win in time thanks to Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, and is just really good. So these two decks can win in time with a very easily accessible extra deck monster for them. So yeah, but the next deck that can actually win in time as well is actually Sky Striker. And funny enough, it's because they actually have an inbuilt extra deck monster to win in time. And you're probably thinking, okay, they can win in time, sure, but how are they going to get to time? Because they're not a deck that takes a long time. Well, your opponent can be playing a long-winded combo deck too. I'm just going to make that very clear. Like, control decks, they don't take too long. Some of the time you just set some cards, you pass turn. In Sky Striker, they can have some long-winded turns where they go ahead and use Engage and multiple times and do all these other spell searches and stuff like that, but you're not taking really a long time. But your opponent can definitely take a very long time depending on what they're playing. So Sky Striker, how are they winning in time then? Well, pretty much it's just one Link monster in the X deck. It's Sky Striker Ace Kaina, which says whenever you activate a spell card, you gain 100 life points. So if you go first, your opponent's taken a really long time throughout the entire game, you going first, summon the Ace, go ahead and link it off into the Kaina, and then literally just activate any spell card and you will win the game there. So yeah, Sky Striker also have a way to win in time very easily, which is funny. So yeah, Sky Striker time win, not hard at all. And the last deck that I want to talk about that can actually win in time is actually Heroes. And you guys are all probably thinking, how the hell do Heroes win in time? How is this deck winning in time with either burn or life gain? I get it, if you're winning in time with attacking, sure, but no. Heroes have a very easy way to win in time with burn damage, and the only card you need to do it is one Fusion Destiny. And you guys are probably out there all saying, wait, Fusion Destiny is the card that summons Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. How am I winning with Destroy Phoenix Enforcer for burn damage. But you're not thinking right, because you're not summoning Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. You're summoning Destiny Hero Dystopia that says when it's summoned, you get to go ahead and target a Destiny Hero monster in your graveyard and burn your opponent equal to its attack points. So what you're going to do, you're going to send a Destiny Hero and another Destiny Hero to the graveyard, summon the Dystopia. Dystopia targets probably the Celestial you put in grave, and then you can win in time because of that. And funny enough, guys out there, anyone who is playing Fusion Destiny in their deck can actually utilize this way to win as well in time on the round, because not only heroes play Fusion Destiny nowadays, literally every deck that likes DPE makes this Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. So all you have to do is go ahead and send the same targets as you would, summon the Dystopia, and be like, time on the round, sure, I burn you for 16 with this Dystopia effect. GG, well played. So funny enough, heroes actually have an inbuilt way to burn your opponent to death, and it's in the extra deck, and Fusion Destiny can be used to make it. So literally anyone out there who plays literally Fusion Destiny in their deck, add Dystopia, because it can definitely win you a game and definitely help you win matches as well. So time on the round is that much easier for you guys running Fusion Destiny, and for every hero player out there who doesn't want to play this anymore because you want to put your DPEs in. Still side it at least, or put it in your extra deck. It is still worth it, guys, trust me. But those are all the decks that I actually wanted to talk about that have inbuilt or really good extra deck monsters that can be utilized the same way, about in their extra decks or in their main decks or in their side decks, to utilize cards that can win and burn your opponent in time. But let's go ahead on to the next part, where we're going to be talking about cards that can actually win you with the Time Fury if you end up going second in time. Cards that can actually win you the match with the Time Fury if you go second and it hits your opponent's main phase in time. Now, guys, there are very few cards that can actually do this, I'll be completely honest with you. There are only two, but these two cards can actually help you win the match in time, so choose which one you think is better for yourself. Now, the first card that I think is very, very strong to win you in time is actually called Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood. Now, this card is very good because if your opponent is playing a strategy that says, oh, you're gonna get burned for time, then this card actually helps you get around that. And Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood's effect is, during either turn, except during the end phase, quick effect, you can discard this card and apply this effect this turn. And this effect is, each time your opponent special summons an effect monster during the main phase or battle phase, you gain life points equal to that monster's attack. So pretty much, if you do this, you get to go ahead and gain a ton of life points. If you're up against Prank Kids, that 1000 gain on them and that 500 burn on you, gonna mean nothing. They can't kill you with that. If you're playing against Sword Soul, well, they're summoning a Long Yuan, they're gonna burn you for 12, but guess what? Long Yuan has 1200 attack, so you're gonna gain the 1200, and once they synchro it away or synchro it into another monster, you've already gained more attack points or life points than they can burn you for. And if you're against Dragon Link or something along those lines, well, they ain't gonna be able to burn you for game, and you're just gonna win there as well. Now, the only downside to Spooky Dogwood is if they don't special summon, you're just gonna lose half your life points, so that's very sad. But let's be honest, you're chaining this to an effect that would special summon, so you should be absolutely fine. So Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood is a very good card that can get around those special summon decks that have a lot of ways to burn you, but it's got a downside to it as well, where if you're having to gamble it and just try to win in time that way, then, you know, it can happen and you can actually lose to it. But the card is very good, very strong, and can win you time on the round matches too, which is very nice, especially seeing as a lot of the decks that will actually burn you in time on the round nowadays do special summon a lot, and you can very easily utilize this against them. So, you know, if they're going to try and burn you for game, well, you're just going to gain more life points than they can burn you for, which is very, very nice. But the only other card that can actually win you the game in time is actually called Firecracker. And Firecracker is a level 4 Fire Fiend 1700 attack, 200 defense monster that says, quick effect, you can discard this card, inflict 1000 points of damage to your opponent, and if you do, skip your next draw phase. Now, let's be honest, if you're using Firecracker, you're only utilizing this card in time, so you won the match at that point. Now, this card does have its downside where if your opponent can burn you for more damage than this, then you just lose. But if your opponent isn't playing the Time Fury in their deck, where they need to be playing a card that can help them win in time, then Firecracker is definitely going to be a really, really strong card and just win you the match there, because Firecracker says, oh, 1,000 damage? Sick, I win the game. So yeah, these are the only two cards that can actually be utilized to win going second with the Time Theory, and it's kind of sad how Konami only have released these two cards to actually be able to win that way, because literally, when you look at the grand scheme of things, there are a lot of decks out there that can win turn 1 by utilizing all these different burn effects, but there are only 2 cards that you can actually side and put in your main deck of free in time to win with the Time Theory. So yeah guys, but that's actually all I have to say for this video. Like honestly, all of these different decks, all of these different cards are ways to win in time and utilize the Time Theory very, very well to be able to basically just, oh, long-winded turns, long match, well, I'm just gonna win in time. And that's pretty much the whole idea behind the Time Theory. These decks are able to utilize burn effects or life gain effects to win in time, and it's funny how winning in time is actually very, very strong, because no one wants to lose or draw in time, and if you're able to play cards that can actually win you the match in time, well, you're just going to be able to get further in regionals, further in tournaments, and not end up having that 1 point, and instead have those 3 points if you go into time on the round. So guys, I hope this video did help you. This video really was brought to the mind when I was thinking about back in the day when I won in time with Gargagar Cowboy. One of the OG ways to win in time, like literally if any of you guys can play it in your extra deck or put it in your side deck to win in time, that is definitely a card I would recommend, because, well, if you're going into time on the round and your deck can make 2 level 4s, Gargagar Cowboy is the OG way of the Time Theory. But guys, these decks are able to win in time. These cards will help you to win in time. Hopefully this gave you an idea for your competitive decks, gave you an idea for some of your other decks, your weaker strategies, ways to just win matches in time and just not get that draw and get that W for those extra points. But guys, that's all I have to say for this video. I hope you did enjoy. Like honestly, this is just something I've been thinking about constantly ever since, well, the Brotherhood Regional, where I used Barbar for game quite a few times. I was like, huh, this is actually a really good strategy, and thinking about how many other decks in the game that can utilize this strategy and how many times I've actually utilized it myself. So guys, I hope you did enjoy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget, please play ways to win in time, because if you don't, you're going to hit time on the round and you're just going to be like, well, it's a draw, and you're going to take that 1 point and you're not going to be happy about it. But thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. We're about one signing out. I hope this helped you all.